Unfortunately, the subprime mess was totally predictable. Subprime lending has always been a part of the mortgage market. If you go back the last 10 years up till about 2003, it was typically 3 to 5% of the mortgages were subprime mortgages, and they were designed for people who had poor credit rating or unpredictable incomes, like say a freelance writer who one year would make a lot of money and the other year wouldn't. These were riskier borrowers and therefore were willing to pay a higher interest rate because they were riskier borrowers. All of a sudden in 2004, and then for the last 3 years, instead of it being 3 or 5% of the market, it became 15% of the market. So you ask yourself, why the jump? Why were so many more people getting these subprime loans? And I think the answer is kind of a couple of things. The first was what was going on in the broader investment market. What had happened was yields had come down. Investors who were looking for returns in things like bonds or even junk bonds were not getting the kind of yields they were hoping for. So people like Bear Stearns and other people who create investments for wealthy individuals were looking for higher yielding products and went to the subprime market and said, this is a good place to make investments. This in turn got the mortgage brokers, because when Bear Stearns encourages them to make subprime loans, the mortgage brokers went out and really tried very hard to get more loans. And so instead of the traditional borrowers, they went after a whole variety of other borrowers. And one of the ways they went after them were with these kind of low teaser rates. The reason people started taking these subprime loans were a couple of things. One was because housing prices had gone up so rapidly that this might be the only way in which they could hold on to or afford to buy a house. And from the standpoint of the investor, what was happening was as long as housing prices kept going up, the investor would be all right. So in the industry, these were almost known as loan to own, which was that you would put in a low teaser rate, you would have the house for a couple of years, and then if you had to kick the person out, as long as the house was worth more, the investment came out all right. What's happened instead is that housing prices have declined or stayed flat, so not only are people getting kicked out of their houses because they took these rates, these loans they couldn't afford, but the investors are also getting hurt.